Kenya is becoming a land of scammers. Everywhere, get quick rich schemes. Are sprawling everywhere in town. Yeah, like you hear people say game of urban areas.
Mchezo ya town.
And it has become the order of the day. Somebody scams a group of people, buys a big car, and then you hear people saying, enjoy life, mommy. Enjoy life, daddy.
The most funniest one is those who steal people from, they scam the chama members.
Yeah.
Like you trust us, treasurer, and then they tell you bring money, pull, and they disappear.
They disappear with the money. So recently, Kenya is becoming a land that we are going to get to the Nigerian way, where nothing works. There are a lot of scam. There are a lot of cases that never get handled and finished and finalized. Nobody gets convicted because of such crimes, but life goes on. But guess who gets hurt? Wananchi ndo anaumia.
The government does nothing about it.
It is those who are on the low. In fact, some people are losing their first generation wealth due to scam, as a result of scammers, and they are going back to poverty.
Like you've seen this scenario where somebody sold land and then especially ancestral land.
Yes.
You sell it, they just, you didn't plan to do anything bad or to over-celebrate or anything. But in one way or the other, fate has caught up with you. Like, that is your way to poverty for the rest of your life. Because there's no any other wealth or property that you will always make.
Okay, especially, recently, there have been people who have been selling land to go and study abroad. Or to go and get jobs abroad. But then you end up paying to an organization that scams you the entire amount. A company that scams you the entire amount, an agency that scams you the entire amount. You come back without anything. Others work so hard to create a first generation. Even pastors have become scammers. Bishops, pastors have become scammers.
Chief scammers.
They tell you, especially when they know that you go, that you make good money, they bring you closer.
They give you VIP treatment.
I remember there was a time I had some South Sudanese friends, because there are things I used to hold brief for them. So we used to hang out even on a Sunday. We would even go to the embassy. Then one moment we are seated to the South Sudan embassy. One moment we are seated around a coffee table. We are taking coffee, and then he's showing me a message. This bishop, this woman, I don't remember the name of that preacher. She's a woman preacher, a woman bishop. Sending her, today I didn't see you in church. The bishop is personalizing her services. Because guess what? My friend pays in dollars. He's the kind of person who, when it comes to issues of church, he can pay $200. He can give you $100 notes too.
As a tithe or offering.
As an offering. That's when I realized bishops don't have an issue with the spiritual anointment. It's about the money. Now let's get down to this really quick. Areas where Kenyans. Let's look at as a society. Let's look at the character. That leads us into this coming situation as a people. Okay, one of them I think is greed. So many people have become greedy. Both true. The person being scammed, and the scammer.
Scammer.
For example, the person being scammed sees somebody driving not even driving, posting, then a plateless car, a car without number plate. So you can't confirm ownership. But they are quick to say, hey, so and so ameomoka. In fact, ameniambia leo nikiweka hii I can get rich if I invest $100.
And you go very fast.
And they quickly look for this $100. People will think Kapua will get this $100. They deceive their parents here and there. They deceive friends. And then they get you into more debts. So some of the areas where we are recording cases of scams, one of them is land. Have you had a friend, or have you read in the internet of friends complaining they have lost money to land?
A lot of them actually.
How do they feel?
Because you see land, everybody takes pride in, but if you own a piece of the world in form of land, there's some sense of pride. But then if your life savings is drained away because the land seller, the alleged seller, the scammer, promised you this piece of land at this amount, a significant amount that if you lose, you would feel depressed. But then you find out that that land, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't belong to you. You were sold for hair rather than the actual land, and it's very painful at the end of the day.
Some people literally get into loans.
Yeah, and you've noticed how there are a lot of land selling companies in Kenya.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they sell now. You know, they don't sell like chunks or parcels. They call them plots.
Yeah.
They subdivide them into 80 by something or 100 by something.
Yeah.
And then I am meant to understand they don't give title deeds of plots. They give because a plot is a whole parcel, say a 3 acre, for instance. Then it is subdivided so you can own this plot. But then I hear they don't give title deed. They give something called, I don't know, certificate of something. Yeah.
Especially no, for plots they give. For apartments is what they don't give.
For plots they give title deed.
Yeah, they give.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because there's a friend of mine who bought a plot somewhere around Thika. But he's saying he doesn't have title deed.
Or he bought an apartment. He bought a
house just unit. A plot land without anything.
He didn't buy a house unit.
No, just a plot. Okay. Then he's saying was given some certificate. It looks like a title deed, but the main certificate is with the company.
Maybe I'll go see the mother. It's called the mother certificate.
Yeah, the mother certificate. Yeah.
I'll go look into that perspective.
Because the process of subdividing a title deed to get to different, like say, if you buy land, see the title deed of that land says 2 acres. And this, how many plots of 80 by 30
are on these 2 acres?
How many can you divide? A lot. So if say 2 plots are bought out of the many, then the third person buys, I have to go again and subdivide this title deed. You know the subdivision process.
Yeah.
Then the fourth person buys, have to go again. So I'm made to understand. I don't know whether it's true, but they give them something called a certificate of something.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll check out what really happens. Yeah. I have a friend who works with such people. Okay, so land. I see the same one company scammed people this time. The same company, they go low, then they reappear again having scam. What happens to Kenyans? They never get wind of a company that's an active scammer. What really happens to Kenyans?
I think they, I don't know, like.
Or they're too quick to get things without doing due diligence.
Maybe you see it's about a reinvention. Maybe the company comes with newer promises. Like they say that this time now. This time now we are serious. This one now is big.
Yeah.
And it's more of when a company comes like that again after scamming you before, they mask behind the name of rebranding. And saying that we have moved away from this to this. And you get scammed again, maybe they come again the third time.
Okay, right now in Nairobi, with the current government, it has become so hard to know whether you are buying a real, because you may buy with the real mother title deed, the original form. It's called what form? Green form. There's the first form that documents ownership of that property or the existence of that property. They even forge that. Yeah,
that's why I've heard
especially in prime areas.
Yeah, I've heard in Nairobi, you have like 5 people have the same title deed.
Yeah,
that's the case.
Especially in prime areas.
Yeah, exactly.
Today you go to Garden Estate, you go to Parklands, you go to Westlands, you come to Pangani.
5 people, 1 title deed.
They forge title deeds as much as they want.
And it happens. It's like an inside game.
Yeah, it's an inside game.
Because there's no I can have a title deed you have, but we own the same.
You just hear a mother title deed disappeared for properties along Bika Road. Bas. When you hear such a thing,
somebody has eaten.
They have set the foundation. Now people will start losing their plots. And do you know whom they target? Wanyonge. They come like they want to take over your property. When they know you can't fight in court and you don't have money, you're financially crippled. They get a court order to kick you out without you knowing there was a case filed, and you are thrown out.
And because if you try to follow up a case like that, you see legal fees are really expensive.
Yeah, the legal fees are so high.
So I think the end person who is going to suffer is the mnyonge. That person who changia the 400k to buy a piece of land.
That is why people, there's this aspect that if you became rich as a parent, strive to make sure your kids become slightly richer than you. Not really below you. Let them not be scavengers and
they shouldn't be waiting for you to die so they
because if they are in such a situation, they are not going to be able to protect whatever you store.
Yeah.
Because it needs court processes, it needs connections. Recently, I read a story of there was this Ukambani politician. The wife was selling some property. So the buyer posed and then said he wanted to build a property. So he had paid half the money. Yeah, didn't even pay half or a quarter of it. But he insisted, he pushed these people to clear transfer so that in the pretext of getting a loan, a bank loan, to start building a real estate property on the said piece of land. When the land was finally transferred, he now disappeared because now he has ownership. So people have literally become, takes. They want to eat off the wealth of others without really putting an effort. And it's becoming so painful. It's the culture. And slowly by slow, okay, everybody praises big cars, but they never query, why did you make this money? Okay, maybe it's none of your business query. But you being a supporter of that person without even hearing how he got to such a situation. For example, there's this common scene where you hear somebody is accused of some crime, even politicians. Then the supporters are too quick to go to the streets and protest. Oh, so and so is so clean. Instead of waiting
they're supporting a thief,
for the court processes to follow, evidence to be given, to be presented in a court of law, and everything takes its course. They even derail the process of investigation through their protests and violence.
And you see, on land scams, you see, like there's this notion, they say that politicians have a high appetite of, there's this element of land grabbing. If maybe we can just touch it a bit, especially prime lands, they're not busy with these lands in Ushago.
They're not busy with those ones.
So I always have wanted to understand how land grabbing works, because land has been there, before I was born, owned by somebody, and so on and so forth. And then the moment I become an MP or a governor or a minister, then I just, do something, and all of a sudden I get some 1 billion land free of charge. How does that work, by the way? Because it has become a thing that if we speak of really senior politicians, land grabbing cannot miss in their vocabulary or their history.
It's a strategy.
History of deeds.
It's a strategy of owning, creating with their own.
Yeah, exactly. Because unlike other countries, in Kenya, owning land and prime land is a very big thing. Countries like
it's
China,
even a risk.
Countries like China, land is communal. You cannot own anything there. You cannot own land, and many other countries. But in Kenya, for those who don't know, like owning land, especially in prime areas, it's a thing. Like you can have land worth, say, 1 billion Kenya shillings, and it's just lying somewhere, and it's like a ready asset. You can convert it anytime.
One of the ways of how land grabbing occurs is that forging of the mother title deed. You find that the mother title deed, when the mother title deed is lost, now they begin forging all the title deeds, reproducing.
So how does it get lost? I believe the title
gets lost in the database.
How? Somebody deletes
it.
Who?
Somehow compromised. The same players in the lands registry. Long time it used to be files. They will disappear with the old file.
Physical file.
So then they create the strategy now to start stealing people's lands. Another strategy, we have lands that were purely on leases, especially the ones within municipal centers, the ones that pay taxes. These lands, they are on leases, such as the ones around Parklands, Westlands, even as far as Kitisuru. They are on under the municipal control, so it's purely on a lease. So when these leases expire, the owner should renew. So this process of renewal, when they keep on tracking which one is soon expiring, then they rush to renew before the owner renews. Maybe the owner is now old and frail, with the kids in the UK and kids scattered all over the world. They take advantage. Then you hear them kicking this person away, out. If you don't have anybody to save you, you go.
Because I think that is the law of land lease for foreigners.
For example, there was
the 99-year lease.
Yeah, the 99-year lease. Most lands around Parklands, still, even for natives, they fall under the same lease. I don't know how they were subdivided. Okay, there was a case that went on to the media of some Mwindi guy who was kicked out of his land. This guy used to be my neighbor, and I didn't know. When we were growing up in my native town, he had property in that town. So I used to wonder, this guy normally just comes to inspect property, but he does nothing on this property. He used to be a friendly guy. And I saw him on TV, his family crying, their house demolished in Parklands. So this guy had other properties in Nairobi. That's why he no longer comes. He's an Indian. built who acquired some other property in Homa Bay where I grew up. He was our neighbor.
But you've even seen instances.
So his lease had expired and they hijacked the lease. Yeah.
And instances, there's also a case in Thika where some Indian was shot in a land saga. I remember.
Yeah, I remember
2 years
that.
ago.
I remember that.
The land was around 1 billion.
Yes.
Yeah. And so even back in the village, you remember they say it in our native language that mambo ya shamba. People slash themselves literally with the pangas and machetes.
But that one we exaggerate, but it's not really. It does. But right now, the threat is real. I don't know whether our population increased.
I don't know. People are their eyes are opening. How valuable land is, because Kitambo people did not really know how valuable land is.
But like the population is also increasing.
Yeah, but still, I think it becomes on the how can I put it? Like, the more we people from the village get out of the village and go to other areas and they see how valuable land is, that the people go to start such wars. Because you find a scenario where your grandfather has like 50 acres of land. Like, they see it as nothing. Like, even if you ambush them, they do not.
Like our backyard.
Yeah, they do not even have a title deed for these 50 acres. But then if you go to Town and Chanua, they then tell them, hey, in Nairobi, 1 acre is 1 billion, and people kill themselves. They'll be like, hey, and then now other people start struggling for this land, and people start killing themselves here and there, and that's really an unfortunate occurrence. But then now, when you come back to town, now the case is different. Now here, people are rushing to get the prime lands in form of buying them, in which they get scammed and rescammed. And companies are evolving with ways on how they do scam. And these days,
scam every day.
Yeah,
they have a season.
Exactly. Especially today, these days, I hear they do projects. They call them projects. Housing projects. Yes. Yeah, housing projects. That they really entice. They even put lipa pole pole.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even if you have 10,000, you can pay 10,000 for 5 years for a piece of land.
But I guess some people have traded well. They have created legitimacy, but it's proving to be a headache even for those people who have traded well in the past. In terms of they are also getting scammed. When they get scammed of a large piece of land, their beneficiaries also get hurt in the process, and there's nothing they can do. So land ownership and land buying, has become a matter of luck.
So let me ask you, there's something I've been asking myself. You see, like, for instance, especially if you look at Ruiru, they sell a lot of land. And in the same area, you see like even 50 companies selling land. So how does it work? Like, definitely the owners of these companies don't own this land.
Yeah, they don't own it.
So how does it work so that they make profit? And how do they manage also in that line to con people and still keep being in business? Like, because you find, like, especially it happens in Ruiru and say Machakos area, Joska, and that area. So how do they own this land, sell it, maybe resell it to another person, and then there are a lot, because sometimes I tend to believe that in as much as these companies are many, I believe somebody just sat down and maybe created like 5 or 6 companies. They're running them by one person, but you cannot know. So if they scam you with one, you think this is the bad one, the one that you trust, still owned by the same person. So how do they get this land? Because you can find that land is being sold until you start asking yourself, funny, is land not over now?
What happens? Land is there. The problem is greed. Greed is the problem. Greed in terms of people don't want to. You can find one piece of land. 10 people have been scammed with one piece of land. Instead of finalizing trade with one person so that parcel is owned by one person, then we move to the next parcel. This is what happens. You find most of the land buying companies, they buy a huge piece of land. Maybe they have a deposit. Or I hear, just as Kenyan motivational speakers say, you can start a business without capital. Others approach an owner. Then they tell them, how much can you sell this land of yours? Then the owner tells them, I can sell it for 100 million. And he tells the owner, I can give you 200 million, but not now. You let me subdivide it and sell, then I'll produce title deeds and I'll give you the money. So when they start the process, he has already promised twice. Maybe he has not done his own math. So he starts selling the piece of land. When he starts selling the piece of land, at some moment, he hasn't given the owner the money that they agreed. Maybe he has paid half.
Because he promised the owner double.
He promised the owner double. So at that moment, the owner refuses to transfer. And then the whole deal goes into flames.
And another prevalent scam in lands is the diaspora. You have money.
Exactly.
You work abroad.
I was in another platform. I saw such a fool behavior.
Yeah.
You have 1,000 people listening to you.
Yeah.
Buying, ready to buy.
Yeah.
Some are already buying.
Yeah.
And you chose to fleece everybody instead of selling and making money.
Yeah, in fact, I don't know why people really, because somebody has money to buy, so you just look for the land and maybe hype the profit and get it. Yeah.
You can even tell them there was a problem with that piece. I'm taking you to another one.
Yeah.
That will still fit into your needs.
Yeah.
Maybe even if you're not comfortable with it, you will sell it
to
somebody and make some money out of it. Still bring some professionalism. But here's a case where somebody just scams the whole lot
in the diaspora. Or maybe they think that you cannot fly back and claim maybe 1 million Kenya shillings because they're trying to do the logistic and the return ticket. The balance sheet is not balanced.
People in the diaspora come here every holiday.
They come, but by the time you come in December,
some come every year.
But by the time you come in December, you'll get that this person has vanished.
Where has he vanished to?
He has gone maybe outside.
They simply drive big cars around.
Yeah. Not vanished as in going dead completely away. But they just transform, they're just around, but you cannot see them.
I think that's what makes people choose to murder instead of trying to sort out.
Yeah, because
for example, I can't be meeting you fueling at Shell there with my stolen
land
money. You're fueling a V8. you're fueling a Range Rover.
Yeah. And that's why we say
and you're not tackling my issue.
Yeah, and that's why we said land issues are really.
In fact, I can even choose to shoot you live in public.
Yeah.
And sort the court process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you cannot scam somebody, because somebody in the diaspora, you don't know their financial capability. Maybe you might think that they're buying a small land. You shall have done your maths. You've seen that, okay, this guy has bought a plot of 400,000 Kenya shillings, and they stay in diaspora. So you're trying to judge that this kind of person, if he can buy 400K, but then if I scam him or how this 400K, for them to come and go, that fare alone is more than this money. Then now you think that
fare is not an issue.
You've run away. It is not an issue.
Flights all day.
But the distance. Have you ever scammed somebody who you think you cannot meet?
But
the thought of it.
But I've thought of a million ways how people scam. Yeah. I can literally see you are going to be scammed on this. Avoid it. Yeah. But they never listen.
But the distance plays.
Even the way they were marketing those pieces of land, I could see it. Yeah. But you talk, they say, no, you don't love progress. That's whatever every Kenyan say.
So they are more like now turning to motivational speakers. Yes. They change you to good things next time. So
character is the problem. Character, when somebody scams, they don't talk about it. Then another person becomes a victim, and the cycle continues. The scammer continues to live a life.
So nobody enlightens the other. Nobody wants to open.
Yeah. Okay, another area where most young people are losing money today is on forex and crypto trade.
True.
Because it's a field people don't understand. So this is how people get scammed. Even if the money doesn't go to your normal influencer, this is where your money goes to. There are companies that are not licensed to trade in the global north. The global north means above Europe, above Arabian lands, going up, where there's a tighter regulation. So when these companies are not licensed to trade on that part of the world, but they're registered by people from that part of the world, they come and trade here. So you find your influencer running around, trade on this platform, trade on this. They give you 100%. Then they link on my bio. Drive FM, don't leave. You can't. They use quotes like this one. Employment cannot buy you this.
Yeah, it's more of selling the lifestyle. Basically,
they sell the lifestyle, but the lifestyle is not even. They have to fake it.
It is rented.
Yeah, it's rented exactly. So what happens when you go and register? That platform, they may even assure you that they even have bots on their platform, which you just click, then you sit back and
it trades on your behalf.
And it trades on your behalf. Don't be cheated. Don't be cheated. These people, the influencers, are making money from affiliates. Every referral, just like referral. So for example, when you enroll with your $100, they get maybe $20 out of it. So they keep on bringing people. So
they don't care whether you will trade or not. The moment you register and you pay.
The moment you register, remember that company is also going to call you. You are going to see you have lost money. in terms of you have lost a trade. So you will never believe you have lost money. You'll keep on trying.
Just like gambling,
Like gambling.
like sports betting.
You feel maybe you failed to make money because you did. So if you have a lot of money, you keep on paying and you keep on they keep on shifting goalposts, just like a theater.
Yeah. It is like at the end of the day, just like in a theater, the house always wins.
Even if at some moment they may lie to you that you made $20.
Yeah, but you cannot withdraw it.
Okay, you can withdraw. You only made 20, even if they give you $20
out of your $100. You only made.
They're literally feeding you like chicken.
Yeah, so it is called pig butchering. They are bringing you kidogo. They are fattening you. So that's the term, pig butchering. They fatten you so that they rob you eventually. They keep selling you hope.
Okay, another perspective is now you are local influencers creating link to trade. They tell you invest with me. I manage for you the account. Yeah,
and it's somebody you trust because they are followers.
Okay, if the trading is so profitable, why doesn't he just trade his own money and reinvest the money that he's using to hire vehicles? And become super rich and continue building the ladder? Why does he bother to look for Njoroge, who is just a hustler? Why does he want to elevate you? He's targeting your little money.
You are the scheme to make money.
You're the scheme to make
that's why they say. Remember that time they say if somebody wants to tell you how to make money, you are their way of making money.
So the game goes. So forex trading, there are two ways. They take you to affiliates. Or there are three ways. Another one is training. They open a training cyber cafe or trading booth. Then they expect you to go there to enroll, go there every day and learn.
And they teach you something that they have copy pasted from Google.
Yeah, they're teaching you the basics.
That's free money.
And then the fee is 50,000 per month.
Yeah, because I've really noticed very many people are curious to learn forex. If you open an academy now or a master class,
just go to the internet. And learn whatever you want. If you want forex, it's the patience. Just go there and learn how people trade. In fact, learn from the people abroad. Leave Kenyans alone because they'll never tell you the truth. Forex is a gamble. People lose and win. Do you ever hear them share they lost?
No.
Nobody shares they lost. They're winning every day. They're winning every minute. And then another way to identify a fool is this. Another way to identify a fool is this. How do you tell me you trade forex? Forex depends on the prevailing situations that define changes. That they define the positions of currencies. So you need to be open-minded. That I'm expecting this one to flop by this, or if I put a double chance on this, this will happen like this. But then most of the people selling you their life, they are living in their own corner of TikTok. No researched information, no economic data. Even the exposure is at par, way below somebody who can trade forex. But they are running the talk of the town. They are trading forex. So they keep on luring victims, but you can never tell people to stop. Because even if you tell them to stop, they're not going to believe you. They are going to continue saying, but my favorite influencer drives this and he changed this kind of car and he's still having the other car. Maybe the car is paid for fully by the affiliate company.
Yeah, true.
So that he can continue, but he doesn't own it, but to rent it even for years. So that they can continue.
So that if you see them every day, you think this is theirs. Because nobody can rent a car for 2 years.
So it's a brand.
Yeah, exactly. It's a brand. And it's about toying with emotion.
They are toying with the emotion, so that the brand name, if you trade on this one, this is the platform to trade on. This platform even gives free bots. Crypto nowadays, we are not talking about crypto so much.
I think it has remained for the OGs.
For the OGs, the owners. Because either way, when we are talking about crypto is the safe position. Just like buying land, hoping that the value will improve, then I'll sell it. The same way crypto. So it's for the people who have the money to continue playing that safe position. For example, you have some $2,000 to you don't have to spend now. You can keep it in there so that you continue seeing how the value behaves. When it gets to $6,000, maybe you can sell. The patience.
So I think scamming is I think sometimes it comes from desperation also, where you are desperate to take a risk.
Character of an individual. is what aids the scammers.
So they become vulnerable. A lot.
For example, people want to know something, but they're not willing to do their own research.
They take advantage of that.
You just want to hop into that life. Even if you start now, maybe you are not going to drive that GLE that your favorite influencer is driving. So you will have to start, then you grow. So you have to be patient. But because you believe in him, you just go to him naked.
Surrender.
The way you go to
So
when you surrender, you become the flesh.
Yeah, so even in our previous episode, we said that we should, get away from people who sell lifestyle. Anything you see on social media is not real most of the time. Yeah, and it is a way of making you the victim. Eventually, you are going to be scammed at the end of the day. So until you've confirmed what this person does for a living to live that flashy lifestyle, then you are not in any capability to throw your hard-earned money into them. They are going to scam you eventually.
Not even confirm what they do. You even don't need to confirm.
You live your life.
Need to focus on what they are selling.
Yeah.
If somebody is selling you for it, let them sell the course. Let them talk about the course. Let them give highlights of the course. But they don't need to be posting that. That is when you should believe that person.
But not telling you that we can invest. I can invest for you.
I can invest for you. I can trade for you. I can trade for you. In fact, manage trading and investing for you. Investing and trading for you is a scam.
Already.
It's a scam. Because I knew a white guy was a friend to my friend who was trading for it. Very quiet guy. Just doing his own things. He just shares a bit on Forex. It's not something he wants to talk about. But he says he spends up to $10,000
on Forex.
Trading on Forex. So the reasonable amount of money that he spends is what creates profit opportunities for him. So even with a small margin, he's able to make even up to another $1,000 on top. Taking a relatively safe position. So that's all. So people who actually trade it don't actually speak about it because they have both stories of bitter and sweet.
So real people do stuff. Don't talk about them.
They really.
It's the scammers that are loud.
The scammers are the loud one.
They become
because
flashy.
It's a mixture of bitter and sweet. That is he has lost. That he doesn't want to talk about. That is he has made good money. That he literally just takes a flight to go and enjoy the money.
So I think you need to be very careful not to become a scammer's prey. Eventually.
Another place where Kenyans are losing money right now and making other people rich is job agencies.
I think we talked about it.
Job agencies, the ones that take people abroad. Even they are even local ones. You ever had somebody tell you go for an interview and they come and tell you, they phone you that you won that interview, that your qualifications were way above. And now you really need to, and now you're the person who's recommended for that position is not qualified to take on that role. So they recommend switching you with that other person, but that other person has already paid a bribe of up to maybe 500.
So they want you to top up past them.
So they're telling you, we love your qualification, but the person we prefer for this job. So why don't you give us that 500,000 this person paid?
Then
we refund.
Then on top, what do they get on top?
There's nothing there's no story of a refund and you're the one.
Like they want to return for the guy who paid, so that they give you the job. So there is nobody who even paid.
There's nobody who even paid. And then when you try to pay, they story twist that the guy is too powerful. We couldn't shove him.
So what next?
So your money is lost. The painful reality is your money is lost.
Gone.
What else?
That's
they tell you that person was a kid to a minister.
That's a tactical. But no, you cannot even have a comeback. Like you paid 500,000, how are you going to tackle a son of a minister?
Yes, exactly.
You cannot. And that's so smooth, by the way.
That's so smooth.
Very smooth. I can apply that one.
So this country, I don't know if it's going to save us, but we are continuing drop because we love lifestyle.
Unfortunately,
we don't envy people who work so hard and build things.
what's funny is even the smart ones get scammed. The smart, non-smart.
Even the smart ones get scammed. Exactly.
So nobody is very safe.
There are people who are smart just by books.
Yeah.
But on the other aspect, you don't wonder where they go. That's why
a scammer can scam anyone.
You can find a kid was just pushed through school. Yeah. Okay, for example, there was a case of a woman who has worked as an accountant in the UK. She studied here, went to the UK. She's a senior accountant. Who bought a property, an apartment, that she ended up being scammed at 50 million. And 50 million was gone like that. Now she has to fight with the court processes. She knows the person. So they're battling it out in court. I told you our courts don't have a remedy for if you get scammed, obtaining money with false pretense. They'll be told, organize how you'll pay her. Yeah. They give you 50 years to repay them. I could literally build a high-paying turnover website, market it, until I start making money. Yeah. Then after 10 years, I decide I'm now continuing with your payment. I'm paying you. That is also possible. Just like what Saiton did. I can authoritatively talk about Saiton because it's evident. The matters are already splashed onto the internet.
They had a court case actually. With Britain.
So they can't sue.
I remember that their case was very prevalent on social media.
Look at what they did. Encourage people to invest. Then the CEO keeps on mentioning the pretext of how COVID hit their investment strategy and how they couldn't deliver on the returns they had promised.
I hope they don't sue you on that.
Smooth. He says he hasn't said that on media, another media station, even on his X platform. I read what he posted.
It's called Edwin Handy. I'm a dandy. I've seen what he posted all the time.
Meaning he did a poor research on investment returns and came and hyped people, not looking into the contingencies of licenses and property transfers and risks associated with the buying and ownership of land in Kenya and construction projection costs.
So how do we conclude this one now?
We wrap it up till we see each other next time. But stay careful not to be scammed. The vultures are all out there.
Don't be the prey. No matter how smart you are, you lazima